as far as even the chanceries that are coming down with closures. The good thing of that is they all have to be filed in my office, so we get fees off of all of that too, off all of our civil. So, but yes,
So that
stocks
could-
are all sent over, even all of our chancery.
That could play a part in that too.
Yes.
You know, what you're watching the paper right now.
Yeah, I'm talking about the first line here, the
No.
fees.
I know, but what I'm saying is that when you see it in the paper, it's another 2 or 3 months before you get a sheriff's sale. So right now, there's 6 or 7 in the paper.
We got 3 the third week in this month, and we
Yeah,
got several
so-
coming up in November.
Trying to get a little revenue, we probably ought to make a notation to look at it later. We need to have a little bit more, but I think you could lower it to.
What were you asking?
85.
What the
The
spike
sheriff
was
fees.
on sheriff fees
Yeah, from, at that
And-
14,000.
in this year. So that would be,
But that is turned over to collections, so hopefully then within his numbers can boost as well. And that's even for like state attorney fees, I mean, all of our automation, document storage.
I can guarantee you though, I mean, it's $700 a pop for a sheriff's sale.
600.
600. There's 10 coming probably in the next 12 months, or 12 to, by
By the end of the year.
Yeah, so I think you could put that at 8 or 9 anyways, and probably be comfortable.
I would guess this is the big thing in, for fiscal year, this would have been fiscal year 17. We had $5,100 that says take notices. Is that something we don't do yearly?
No, we do, that's our tax cases that
Yeah.
are filed in our office, and then the sheriff serves them all, so that's, what do we do, it twice a year? I don't know. It just depends. So they do the big tax sales, and when
We
we
do.
do the take notices, we have to file everything with us, and then it goes to the sheriff to get all that served, and I mean, they have to serve all the entities involved and everybody, I mean, it's.
Have we not done it this fiscal year yet? Is that,
Yeah, there should have been a bigger, because I know Heidi took in a lot of money here not too long ago on some of those.
okay, then we need
There
to
was a
make
bunch
a
of
note
them.
and figure out where that's at
Did you
because
hear just that the one big investor
Right.
just filed his cases
This-
last
was
month,
last
so then
day
it
that
should
they
be,
did.
he just filed last month.
that could be why. So maybe it will show up at the end of this month. Because I don't see anything big.
Saber Investment just
Yeah.
filed theirs last month, so it
Yeah,
should be.
and I know that was a big chunk of money that came in from them.
Well, that's not a big amount, but I think I need to mark it as a revisit.
That's why.
So it
See if
looks,
that comes in.
that's fine. It looks to me like probably my projection then for this year is low because like what Tiffany and Scott are saying is that there's gonna be a large amount of money that's not large, but maybe $5,000 more. So this may be a lot closer to projection. We might not be $5,000 under this.
Yeah, I think mark that as a revisit, leave it alone right
Yeah, I agree with that, because you don't have any idea till we get everything in.
And that hasn't show up yet that it's been deposited in that account?
Nope.
Is there a reason why it doesn't automatically show now? I mean, since because it's already, I know some of that's already came in.
From like Saber. So you're talking about,
Saber,
what Tiffany just said is they just paid last month. I believe the way this works is it like, I think this comes from Heidi in your office. So she collects it all, deposits it, and then gives it like a month to the treasurers. I'm not involved in that, so I don't know exactly.
But
Is it
now,
weekly?
yeah, she does it, that's what I'm
we
saying.
just did 2 sets yesterday.
Okay.
So there may
from
just
2
not be
tax
in there.
buyers, So you'll have more coming in.
So probably within the next few days, this number will jump up. So I'll just
When you
put,
pull that report up though, does it show individual deposits that's been made that's large on there?
yeah, there is none for this year. Yeah, here, I'll show you. So like this year's, let me go up for show you this. So in 17, this 5,000 was like June
Yeah,
23rd.
yeah.
So if I go down here into 18, here's your June, July, August, like there's nothing that's over $1,000.
See, that's what I'm saying. There's something that's not been reported yet because I think that Saber was well over $1,000 when she did some of those here not too long ago.
Well, it looks like the last time anything was
I can ask her
was the
about it, but, I know they came in and wrote a big check
So
for
maybe
it
the
because
last
there's a
week.
stack of them that we had to serve for them. I mean, they had a stack to stick for them.
It looks like we're missing a week, and from what Vonda's saying and what Tiffany's saying, I think that's probably where your big amount's gonna come. So as soon as that gets processed, we'll go.
Can we put that at 9,500 with the note? That way we're being more realistic, but we can come back and look at it. That's just me.
I agree.
But I think the 11.5 is high, 95, we're hoping realistic, and if we can compare apples to apples when the money comes in, but then that way we still have a note. Scott, you okay with that?
Yeah.
All right. And then this is another one we just talked about with it together, which is the sheriff sales.
I think we're okay there. Scott?
That's your
Yeah.
average. So,
Yeah, cause it'll hit that amount.
Okay.
so then you have your state and federal grants. 16 came in at 76, 17 came in at 15,000, 18 are projecting to come in at 10.4. The average of them is actually 10,999. Last year we budgeted 10,000. I just put in there, recommend keep the budget
I
at
would
10,000.
leave it there.
So,
This is something we'll have to skip for now and work out with the 911 ETSB board. This is the amount of money that they pay for dispatch.
Yeah, we'll have to look at all that because that's gonna be another source of revenue here, correct? When we,
merge.
okay,
Just revisit.
Yes.
yeah, absolutely.
I just left it the same as last year.
But it's not gonna be for
Not
this
gonna
year.
happen for a year.
Well,
Oh, that's right,
we
that's
take
right.
that out for a year.
I'm glad, yeah, because I forgot that. So actually, this year's budget
No,
will be no different.
Is
You're
it a year-
right.
Is it a year from September 30th or is it a year from 12/31?
Well, the notice was given September 19th. However, that's going to be depending upon InDigital, our new certified system provider, getting us switched by that date. So
So there could be. a
We're
little-
hoping
There could be a
for
little bit in.
on or
18.
before, or on or after, is how the contract's written.
Once I leave it, as it is.
Yeah, I would too.
The next item on here is the transfer from revenue stamps. I can actually let Vonda talk a little bit about it, but last year when we did the budget, every year we weren't budgeting to move money from the revenue stamps to the general fund. When we did the budget for 2017, when we were trying to balance the budget, Terry actually came in and said, hey, I haven't transferred any money to the general fund in several years.
Right.
I have safely can transfer at least 50,000. And then I asked him for a number going forward if we just do this on a yearly basis and instead of doing it, I don't even know how often we were doing it, every 5 years. And he said he felt comfortable about 15,000 a year. So that's what we put in this year's budget. And so I don't know, Bob, if
I'd
you
have
want to
to
speak
ask
on it, if
Bob,
you're comfortable
is
at
that about
the
what we-
15,000.
What we get, or, or,
I don't really know, because I didn't know Terry had done this.
yeah.
So,
It hadn't been paid since I was county clerk, that's why that one figure was so
Right.
high.
right.
See, but that, again, that's where we have to be very, very careful, because that 50,000 that we got was a one-time deal, and we added that to the revenue, but we can't count that as income. That was just to help us, fill in a shortage that we had, and that's why I don't know if we generate $15,000 or not. Why don't we put a note on that and let Vonda look to see actually what we generate, and that number we can be pretty pat on though, can't we? I mean, we'll know on that.
Yeah.
So,
So how do their revenue stamps work? I know they're for property, do we get to keep a portion of the amount? Is that why 15,000 was given as a good number per year?
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but again, till we look at it, and I'm guessing this is probably gonna be right because we depended on Terry to tell us what the revenue would be, and this is what he told us was 15,000. But again, this is one that we could pretty well know and get a solid number there, right?
It depends on sales, but it always runs 12 to 15, it did. Consistent.
I would do exactly what you're doing, Angie. I would leave it alone with the note, and after we do some homework, and like I say, if it is coming to 12 to 15, I'm good with that.
All right. The next one we have on the list is the city share of animal control. This is something also that it's actually a calculated number. That's why it's even has the cents in there for this one. It's something that I will calculate after you do animal control's budget. So we do the animal control budget. We have already above done the income we think animal control is going to bring in. We put it together in a spreadsheet, all the municipalities in Union County that participate in the program. We divide it out based on population, and this is the portion that we receive from those municipalities. So it's a number we're going to have to revisit after we do animal control budget.
Okay.
This is the city share of the drug task force agents. Similar thing to animal control. Once we do the sheriff's budget, actually this could probably be calculated now, but once we know the amount of money for the drug task force agent, then we do the same thing. We put the expenses in, we divide it by the population of the municipalities that are participating, and then we plug this number in.
Have we taken into consideration on this number that Cobden pulled out?
Well, no. So that's a thing to consider. If you'll see back in 2017, we came in at 63. This year, we're looking at coming in at 39. That's not Cobden. I have a feeling this is 2 years worth. Possibly somebody had paid late and it went into the next fiscal year.
I think that's what happened. I think it paid late, but because that just happened this year, correct, Scott, on them withdrawing from.
Yes. That's
Scott,
correct.
is there any, I've heard rumors that another municipality may drop out.
Well, I can tell you that we received the checks that I sent out invoices to all the municipalities that are due this fiscal year, and we received the animal control payment from the city of Jonesboro, but they did not send the drug task force agent. That is on my list to call them and
That's what
ask
I've heard.
them.
That's what I've been told. And it's not decided completely, but what I am hearing is there was something added on to that invoice about IMRF. And I think that's the holdup. They don't want to pay for the IMRF because they say it's already taxed. So I think that was an issue once before and we took it off of there. I know it was.
I don't know. The invoice was done the exact way this year as it was done the 2 years before. So
They had
I
it
just
on-
took the
they
same
had it on there.
template. Mhm.
Yeah, I'm just saying that the average or the 37,000 that we, I believe our revenue is gonna be short of that.
From what I've heard, and I have not talked to the city of Jonesboro, but I also had heard that they had questions and I need to reach out to them. But one of their questions was Cobden pulled out, so are we having to make up the difference for Cobden pulling out? Well, the answer to that is yes. That's the way it is, because it's based off population.
How
So
much
if you
did it
have
go up?
a fewer,
Because I didn't know you'd sent the invoice out, but I didn't, and I was just getting this after.
Only one of two things we can do there. Either, the county's gonna have to pick up the difference, or you use the same calculation with fewer people. You know what I mean? And then your rate's gonna go up. But again, if we do that, ours is gonna go up too. I mean, we're paying more too. But I'm afraid of the trend there, that if people just start pulling out, then that whole source of income there is just gonna drop.
so for Jonesboro, in 2017, they were billed 8,500, and in 2018, they were billed 9,800. So about a $1,300 increase. And if you look back to 2017, we actually did not know last year that Cobden was pulling out, so we billed them and then they did not pay. So it looks like Cobden was contributing about $5,400.
Who's your contact person with Jonesboro? Who you've been talking to?
No, I said I haven't talked to anybody. Lee just let me know with a pay, because I sent her a list of the bills and said, can you tell me as people pay? And she sent me an email and said, she would tell me each time. And she said the city of Jonesboro brought in a check for animal control, but did not bring in a check for drug task force. So I wrote it on my list that I need to call them and find out.
Yeah, we do, but
I know.
he he's laughing, but there's a reason for that, so.
Well, it just, yeah, and Dave, just so you know, Scott has, he went and he's.
Well, this was on another issue.
I know, but this is why it kind of rolled around. And, I'm just afraid this is gonna be a trend on the tax
Yeah, I
force.
mean, once somebody, I mean, on any of those types of situations, somebody drops out and we can't make them pay, obviously, somebody else is gonna drop out and it's gonna continue to happen.
It was on a different issue, but I think this is kind of what got that ball rolling that way.
Yeah.
You agree with that? So, on that one, won't you put a note on that one also? What'd you budget for that? What did we budget for that?
Anna paid.
And pay.
Yeah, okay. And they will. I don't know, Scott,
Well, the only thing that we can do is if Angie reaches out to them and finds out what the issues are, what the holdup, then maybe we can go and address that. I mean, that's all we can do.
that's right. That's right, and maybe it's just that portion that's, and they'll continue to pay, but just not that portion.
I know I know there was a raise and the IMRF was brought up. That was what was told to me. The chief told me from Jonesboro, told me that was some of the holdup, so maybe we can work around that.
Well, and the thing about it is, you know, I mean, I'm just saying from being devil's advocate here that, okay, then the IMRF deal, we worked that out, but then, you know, they said, well, but this community's not paying, so, well, and since this community's not paying, then what I am saving on the IMRF contribution, then I'm turning around and have to pay more because we're dividing by less people on the same formula, which means my price is gonna go up.
Right.
And I'm just afraid that's gonna be a trend.
Me too.
All right, so I have a note in there for me to contact the city of Jonesboro and inquire.
Okay, thank you.
The next one is animal control donations. I can just walk you through the numbers, 6,516, 3,517. This year, we've already got 7,500. That may be all we get, but if you do the month's projection with 2 more months, it should come in at 9,500. The average is $6,000. Last year, we budgeted 5,000. I just put in there.
I would budget the same there and hope that it comes in more, that'd be a little more money we get. And that depends on Dirk.
Yeah, and that's the situation.
That's right.
That whole line could be zero before we know it.
Yeah, just pause. That
Well,
pause.
not pause, because dirt
Because
will
of
be
Dirk.
No, but I'm just saying pause with their building project. More donations could go that way.
Yeah, Dirk works on those. Dirk gets places not from here.
Oh, okay.
So the next
But
one.
I will comment on that real fast, that Max is right, that whole line, and I hate to say it, but it's true, that whole line right there depends on Dirk. And that's a compliment to him, by the way.
Okay. I was making sure this number didn't change. That's why I flipped back over the other screen. It has not changed. So, state income tax in 2016, we came in at 917. In 2017, we came in at 981. This year, we're projecting to come in at 871. So, if you remember, this is where we got the 10% reduction from the state.
Right.
So these are probably won't do you any good to take an average because these have the 10% more, this has the 10% less. So last year we budgeted 855. It actually looks like we're going to come in this case, ahead of budget at 871.
We don't want to go up on it.
No, that could give us a little cushion too. I'm comfortable with
We just have
that.
to wait and see what happens. There's no way to get that.
This is something I can also talk to Darren about because I know last year he got the letter with regards to the 10% reduction, and I can try to figure out if he has some information that I don't have, that he can make a better educated guess at this number, if you would like me to do that. So
I don't think you'll see anything happen until after the election. That's
All right. The next one's similar, it's the state sales tax. You got 300,000, then you came in at 307, and then this year it looks like we're coming in at 315. So the average of it is actually 308. Last year we budgeted 3045. I have the same number in there.
That could be a win later too, because of sales tax collection for Amazon and stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
Is everybody okay with this number staying the same?
Yeah.
And then the next one is supplemental sales tax. Came in at 155, 164. We're projecting it to come in at 173. So the average of that is 164. Let's look at, for the last 2 years, it's come in higher than this 159.5. This could be something we could increase.
You could bump that a little bit.
Just put revisit, that's
Either way, that's something, I would definitely make a note of it, but I wouldn't be opposed to.
What number do you guys feel comfortable with right now that you would like me to put in there? I'll still put revisit.
Maybe 165.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good starting point.
Yep. Okay.
Replacement tax. In 16 we came in at 129. In 17 we came in at 138, and in 18 we're projecting it to be lower and come in at 117. The average is 128, but so this is also another one that I probably should ask Darren. If I look at my note from last year, he got a projection from the Illinois Department of Revenue that suggested to us to drop our budget to 111, which is what we did. And we're actually going, we think we're going to come in a little better than that. So this may be a number that Darren would be able to get from.
Yeah, let's do some
Department of
homework
Revenue.
with him, because I remember that they told us to drop ours. Yep.
Use tax, 267, 230. We're projecting this year at 274. The average is 257. This, besides for last year where we came in at 230, this could possibly be up. Let's look at, see where, if this number's changed. 231,596. Nope, same number. So here's what we've gotten so far.
Would you put for your suggestion of 230?
No, this one is one of the ones I did not put a suggestion in there for you guys. So, because the average is 257, but this year we're going to come in at 274.
I think we could bump that a little bit.
Do you want this to be 250?
I wasn't thinking that much.
Well, actually in 17 it came in at 230. Would we feel more comfortable putting it to 2? Well,
Yeah.
That's actually not that much more.
No,
So
not that much.
235.
I was thinking 235 and hope for the best there. And then, like I say, these got to chime in.
I'd say revisit, because that one, you know, if we look for $1,000, that could be there. Probably justify it.
State salary reimbursements. This isn't one that I'll come back to and plug this in for you guys when I know the salaries. This is
Yeah.
where we get reimbursed for the public defender and the state's attorney and the coroner.
But they're always good about paying it. I mean, we
Yes.
always get that.
Yeah, and actually I can go over here and show you state salary reimbursements.
I mean, that's pretty, we ought to be pretty solid on that though, wouldn't we?
Well, yes, except if their salaries change. So, for instance, the state's attorney's salary has changed. So remember, we got the notice that they, did a.
Yeah, but what I'm saying though, I mean, we can plug that in and just get a firm number though, once.
Right, that, yeah, I don't even need, I will go in and actually calculate
Yeah,
this off
and I'm
exactly what
comfortable
we'll
with that,
get.
yeah, just because we'll know, that's a hard number.
State election reimbursements, you had 9,700, 7,100, this year about 10,200. The average of them is 9,000. That's an odd amount that we have in the budget. I'm not
It
quite
sure
sure
is.
why. So do we want to leave it there? Do you want to put 9? Do you want to put 10?
98,
I'm sorry, I
Make
can,
it 98.
Yeah, I was gonna say that way we don't have the odd number there.
do you know what that is?
Election judges.
It's where we get reimbursed for election judges. Is it a certain amount? Is that why we have this? I mean, is it a,
That's what we have left for me to use for this election coming up.
Question though, since this year they allowed us to go with less judges, can,
That was less I did some research on that. That was less judges for the primary.
for the primary?
You have to have 5 judges for the
Oh,
general.
I know, but what I'm saying though, I mean,
Terry didn't tell me that.
no, I knew that.
I looked
mean,
it
yeah.
up.
But what I'm saying though, since we are saving money on the primaries, could that number fluctuate? Or would it even have anything to do next year?
Well, see, next year you always
That's what I'm
have
saying,
to
it's an off year,
consolidate.
right? Huh?
Next year, all we have is consolidated.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, so.
so actually, when we did the budget for this year and we left the 9,700, look, and I just updated this because apparently we just got reimbursed
Yes,
for
you
something.
did.
So this number is actually gonna be way above budget. It's gonna come in at 26,523, while we only budgeted 9,700. I'm assuming that's because we're in a year of a general election.
Yeah,
So next year, it probably will be closer back down to, you think that's comfortable?
I think the 9,800 is pretty realistic then, don't you? For next year, since all we have consolidated,
Yeah, all we have is consolidated, so.
but then the next
But
year.
then the
what-
next year, it's gonna have.
Yeah, what needs to be remembered is, you know, that it's gonna go up, but in the primary, we can use the less judges. Okay,
Unless they change it again.
I bet they won't, because that's money everywhere.
It's in and out anyway.
Yeah.
So whatever we put in there, we put in the expense
Exactly.
All right.
Yeah,
So
that's right, it's a wash anyway, in and out, right? Okay.
So the next one here, state grant gaming fees, 39,016, 33,017, 36,000 is what I'm projecting, pretty consistent. We budgeted 35, I propose we leave 35.
Yeah.
Good?
Yep.
Public safety tax, it's actually fairly consistent too. You got 245, 248, and then this year 254, if I round it up. The average is 248. This is where the state took, I believe, a 2% admin fee. I
Yeah.
think that's what it was when we did the budget last year. So this year we're looking at coming in at 253. Last year we budgeted 249.80.
I'd say leave it the same.
I would leave it because I'm afraid of what they're gonna do in it. Now, before we go on, correct me guys, you help me out here. Didn't Darren get something about the use tax that they're looking at for some sort of cut from the state? Was that the one? And I know that they were looking at the gaming fees and the use tax. So they didn't cut it? They were going to. I know they were looking at it, but did they? Or is that something that we need to kind of be aware of?
I don't think it's been decided.
No, but that was something that we got down the pipe that said, you remember? Because if the state starts dipping in and wanting to take some money, that, I remember that they said something about the use tax, that they could look at that for a percent. And like I say, it doesn't look like they did it this year, and that's what hurt us last year, the same thing on the transportation, you know, I mean, in the highway department, when they come in and took $180,000 or whatever it was, and said, and we asked, is it delayed? No, we're just taking it. So anyway, neither here nor there, but.
The next item here is PILT, it's the property in lieu of taxes.
Right.
So you have 111,000 from 2016, 145 in 17, 152 in 18. So
I would.
that average is actually only 136, but 2016 is pretty low.
Yeah,
17 and 18 look like they're closer to the same. This may still be a little high. We've not hit this high ever.
I think that's too high,
So maybe closer to 150.
yes.
Yes. That's what I would feel comfortable with. And then this, basically, we're almost at the end of revenue for the general fund. These down here are also ones we'll have to revisit. This is transfers in, so any of the other funds, like I said, we have 99 down here at the bottom. Anything that ends up transferring money to the general fund, we put it here. So last year it was stuff like for the sheriff's K-9, we pay the expenses out of the general fund, and then he transfers the money from anti-crime
Donations.
from donations. So once we have an estimate of what the K-9 is going to cost for next year, then we'll, do this transfer. So this is something that comes later. Also last year we did $5,000 from the collector's automation fund, $10,000 from sheriff's anti-crime, and $10,000 from recorder's GIS. So this is something I'm just going to leave white like this, so we know we have to come back and do it.
Yeah.
Transferring from redeploy, this is one of our grants that we have. It's our indirect cost. Basically, out of her grant, 10% of it, we get indirect costs for administering the grant. So once I get her new grant paperwork, we'll do 10% of it and plug this number in here. Interest.
When does it due? The grant, I mean, or is that?
All the grants have different years.
Okay.
I would have to check hers to see. Hers may be a calendar year.
I don't remember.
So the next thing is interest. In 16 we had 1,200, in 17 we have 1,200. This year we're looking at going up to 1,500 possibly. Actually, after looking at this, I would probably put this number at $1,200.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
And then the last one is also something that we need to discuss, the miscellaneous revenue. In the past, we've coded different things here, which is why this number is high. Over the last 2 years, we've tried to not use this except for things that, don't just group a bunch of stuff in there. If we know we're going to get revenue, let's move it to its own revenue line so that we can identify it. So that's why it's coming down. So currently, the only thing that's in our miscellaneous revenue is the dispatch for the city of Anna. So this year in November, they will be making their final payment for the current agreement of it's $33,765, but it's actually due November 1st. So the agreement ends 10/31 of 2019. So I don't have the amount that they will be paying in fiscal year 19 until we negotiate with Anna. We can leave it in. My logic was I was going to leave it in at the same as last time, knowing that
That's
should be at
exactly what I
least.
do, and that'd be
But-
sufficient too. Yeah, and Angie explained it, but just so that everybody's, when we were looking at this board, the first year, like I say, that was a whole bunch lumped in, so we decided as a board that if it's a revenue line, we put it exactly where the number belongs instead of miscellaneous. And I think we were all in agreement that when we're having a budget miscellaneous, actually, we should probably rename that to actually what the fund is. because I think we were all in agreement that we didn't like a miscellaneous line. If it's money coming in, we need to name it on what it is. So even with that one right there, if that's from Anna, then we need to change that and put it what it's for, and just do away completely with the miscellaneous revenue. That's my opinion. I think if it's a revenue line, we ought to put it as a revenue line.
That's not good.
So that's the end of the revenue for the general fund. So keep in mind, we have to go back and revisit some of these numbers, and that our biggest number up here, property tax, we're not plugging yet because we have to do the other expenses first. So this number, it doesn't really mean a whole lot right now because our property tax number up top is not correct.
Okay.
So that's the revenue, and then we'll have to go through the expenses. It's just to kind of explain it, so everybody knows, the expenses are all broken down by department. So we have Department 1, which would be all of our general expenses, and then it goes into county administrators, human resource, county clerk, and all the expenses go in there. So I'm not sure how much you asked me to do revenue today. We can continue on, or we can see when you guys are available. I just urge us to do this as soon as possible.
We'll start on expenses next week. Let's try to work it out. Continue this meeting next week.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I mean, but I am in agreement with Angie. We need to start plugging away and doing this. And I will say, I was talking to Bobby, I appreciate the people that are here looking at this to see what actually, how the budget comes about. Because, and you'll see, if you're here through all of it, then when we hit that last number to find out, then that's when the work starts, because it would be great if these two numbers matched up at the end, but they won't.
Odds are pretty good that we'll be looking for money.
Yeah, but they won't, and so that's why I'm glad that you guys were here at the beginning, and if you can, come all the way through to see what we do, and then see where the real work comes in when the numbers don't match. Because that's where the decisions that are not popular are made.
So, what's everybody's schedule next week?
I didn't book any audits for the rest of the year, so I can be here.
I don't know if we'll be able to.
I'm here, I'm open all week.
You just can't.
I got something Monday morning, but other than that, I'm okay.
Just try, I'll make the decisions, guys, just trust me.
It says used to it.
My name's Max Miller, and I don't care.
And we can try to move them if need be. I just pulled up our community room calendar so you guys could know. For next week, the only thing we have booked in here is Tuesday at 8:30. Southern 7 will be here for flu shots. So that's 8:30 to 9:30.
You say Monday morning, Bobby, you're busy?
I'm Monday afternoon.
Can we pick it up Monday afternoon?
It's fine with me.
Yeah, I think we ought to. I think we ought to keep plugging away at this.
We'll talk Monday.
That's fine.
What time?
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock on Monday.
We'll start talking about expenses. You want to go ahead and set up some officers?
Who would you like? Let's flip back over here real fast. Who would you like me? And do you know when you're gonna meet after Monday, like for the next time, so that I can let the office holders know, who needs to be here Monday, who needs to be here, I don't know what day you're gonna do next, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Well, yeah, Tuesday, same thing, probably 1 o'clock.
Tuesday at 1 o'clock, you think? You want me to go ahead and schedule those 2 days?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you just starting at the beginning and going through them by department number? So like Department 1, Department 2?
Might as well.
Okay, so the first day is actually probably gonna be, how many departments do you wanna do a day? Or do you want me to take a guess at how long they're gonna last?
Well, some take 15 minutes and some take quite a while.
Right.
I know Scott's gonna be.
Yeah, Scott's budget, it may be the whole time. It depends on how long you guys are, so it's 1 o'clock, what time would you like to be done? By 4? Or are you thinking by 3?
Could you email that by, to me anyways, I don't know about the other ones, I'd like to see it before I come here
The,
Monday. That's where she.
I can, but the expenses aren't done, that's what you'll be
No, I
doing
know,
here,
so that
so.
I can have a handle on.
Yeah.
that part.
Before,
Yeah,
So
three hour
between
blocks, yeah.
1 and 4, it's gonna be a guess at how many departments we're gonna get through, but if you would like.
It always, I mean, we've done that before where we tell them tentatively here, but it's, subject to change. I
Okay,
mean, that's all we can do. Like I said, with Scott and, you know, his budget, the highway department, that's,
ambulance service, they're on.
those will take a while. Of course, the county highway, that's gonna be a real big one. I trust your judgment on that, Angie, I don't know. You know as well as I do, we don't know, can't give you an answer.
and it will also depend, I mean, we may have to skip a department, cause if I go to Scott and say, hey, can you be here Tuesday, and he's got something else going on, he may have to do a different time.
Hey, just trust us anyway.
And Tiffany said that she has a jury trial starting next week, so that may kind of tie up some of the court side.
We'll start
We'll
on
have to
that.
work around that.
Alright, so Monday at 1 o'clock, we'll resume.
Yeah, I make a motion that we, not adjourn, but we continue this Monday, recess, until Monday 1 o'clock.
Commissioner Hartline,
Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Tully,
Yes.
Commissioner Foster,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Gold.
Angie, appreciate it.
Yes.
Thank you. I can't use this.